and welcome to the first episode of the Koltyn and Drake show. I am Drake, and joining me as always is my good buddy Koltyn. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. I'm very excited. This has been a long time coming, long time in the process, and it's finally good to see that it's finally here.
Yeah, we'll touch on it a little bit, but it's we've each had a dipped our toe in the waters a couple of times, and this time it actually feels right as far as like the things that we've done on the front end to make sure that this podcast has a chance to have some legs and have some staying power.
Right, and I feel like our past experiences has kind of led us to where we are now because we tackled those things on the front end. I feel like it's easier to get this up and going now compared to the last time, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. On today's episode, it's going to be a little bit of an introduction episode. We're going to discuss some of the why we're starting a podcast, and then discuss some of the topics that we're passionate about talking about. So you guys can have an idea of what to expect, but also you have a better idea of what topics to ask us about, because the big part of this show is that it is viewer driven or listener driven. We want you guys to help pick the discussion topics for the podcast. So knowing what things that we either know a lot about or that we are passionate about, that might help you decide what topics to send in. But first, before we get to all those things, I do think it'd be good to go through a little bit of an introduction. A lot of times with a new podcast, you're trying to establish credibility, right? But there's nothing really for us to establish credibility on. So I think a good thing would be just to, give a little bit of a, hey, this is who I am, why I, want to be doing this type of thing, and kind of where you come from. So Koltyn, why don't you start, and then I'll bring this segment home.
Okay. Well, as you can tell by the title, I am Koltyn. Drake and I previously, with a couple other buddies, decided to dabble into the podcasting experience. We were pretty big into sports betting, so we're like, we're like all very passionate about it. Let's get into it. And it was fun. It was very fun for football season, 5-6 months. Then we all got busy with our work. Kind of a little background: I'm an athletic trainer at a JUCO in the middle of Kansas. We kind of went away from that, decided, okay, we'll take a little break, maybe we'll start it back up. Never did. So we little background, me and Drake used to work together, and let's just say some of our debates we had in the AT room is kind of what led us to this podcast. There's a lot of things we agree on, but there's probably even more things we disagree on and have very strong opinions about. So that's kind of a stepping stone of how this got started, at least in why. My why of why I wanted to do this podcast. I think it's a great idea to just not talk about things we want to talk about all the time. You can see from like community engagements through other, podcasts or other streamers. They kind of do what their audience wants to do, and that's how they get so successful in what they do. But I want to engage in other categories or topics that I've never really dove into and argue about them, basically. Whether it's right or wrong, I don't care, but I'm going to give it my all. But yeah, that's a little bit about me and kind of why I thought this would be a great idea.
Yeah, I agree with you. First, a little bit about me. My name's Drake. Like Koltyn, I am a athletic trainer by trade, but I don't see this podcast being something that we talk a lot about, sports medicine or athletic training or sports injuries or something like that. But athletic trainer by trade, have dabbled in a few different podcasts, a couple more than Koltyn. Like you said, we had the sports betting one. We all decided that was probably best given our career field to not continue. And then I had a solo one, which I refuse to ever say is dead. It's one of those things that it's always like, I'm still working on it. So, I'm still working on that one. It's not dead. And then I had one that, me and a coworker, do that is based around, athletic training, sports medicine type stuff. So I just love the process of podcasting. I love having conversations with people. And one of the things that I like the most about podcasts is the community that builds around them. And so, me and Koltyn were talking, how do we, one, build that community? And then two, how do we get the community engaged to be a part of the podcast to where it's not just our show, even though our name is on it. It's the whole community show. It's the whole, the community that surrounds the Koltyn and Drake show. It's their show as well. And so we decided we were going to put it out there and have them pick the topics for discussion. Me and Koltyn will kind of scour through those topics and pick what we want to talk about for that day. But the topics of discussion will mostly be from the listeners, as long as you guys are sending them in. We just kind of a little how this is going to run, I guess. I don't know, a little Koltyn and Drake show 101. We kind of had it in mind in a normal episode, not this one. We would, kind of have the beginning segment one or whatever be something that we wanted to talk about. And then, the next two or so segments, segment 2, 3, 4, however many we have, will be from topics that we pull straight from the listeners. So we do stream the recordings on Twitch. We're doing so right now. Just so you guys know, if you are in the Twitch and we are actually recording the episode, we're trying not to pay a lot of attention to the Twitch chat while we're recording, just so we can have a little more conversation back and forth. And when we actually put the podcast episode out, there's no confusion when we start talking to somebody that's in chat, and then it's like, is there a guest on the show today? I'm not sure what's going on. So, but yeah, I think Koltyn and I both have, pretty good things to say depending on what the subject is. People may give us a subject and we may not have a whole lot to go off of, but I'm sure given enough time, me and you can find something that we either disagree or agree strongly on, depending on the topic.
No, that's for sure. It doesn't matter what it's going to be about. Well, even if we agree, we'll still find something to argue about it.
Yeah.
And just a little bit more about the Twitch stuff. Yeah, we're not going to be paying a lot of attention to it here in the future. We'll have like an overlay on it, so it says, hey, like recording in process. That way that you guys know, like, we won't be looking. But there will be sometimes in segments in our show that we ask to pull questions straight from you guys on Twitch. So when we get to that point, we'll let you know, like, hey, yes, we'll go ahead and read Twitch. But from that time being, while we're recording, we won't be paying much attention.
Just looking at just said we weren't paying attention to chat, but we apparently seem to be having some audio issues, at least on the Twitch side of it. But moving on a little bit, some topics that we're passionate about. We mentioned a few of them in the trailer. If you've listened to that, if you haven't, make sure you go check it out. But obviously sports. We're athletic trainers, so we love sports. But we also, we were former collegiate athletes ourselves. Played in the NAIA. Actually played on the same team, just not at the same time. I made my way out as Koltyn was coming in, so we never got the chance to play together. And Koltyn likes to rub that in my face that he left his college career with 2 conference championship rings, and I left my college career with none. But I like to remind him that he stands on the shoulders of those that came before him. So
yeah, so we basically share them. Just think of me as the operator behind your machine.
Yeah, so there's 2 of us and 2 rings. So between the 2 of us, we average 1 ring apiece.
That is true. The only difference is, well, there's no difference. You just didn't get them.
Yeah,
I have them.
Yeah, I don't own them. That's the issue. That's the issue. What other topics, Koltyn, are you passionate about that maybe is more in your realm? Obviously, sports is one for both of us. Video games is one for both of us. But what about you? What about are some topics that you're passionate about?
Uh, Three that came straight to my mind. One's a little bit more sports specific that some people may not know, but I'm a huge golfing nerd. Love to golf. I suck at it, but I love to do it. Love to watch it. Love to keep up with it. Um, Eventually, I want to, travel around, try all the nice golf courses around the United States, and who knows, maybe eventually the world. But love golfing. TV shows. I'm a big TV show guy. All the new ones, the from Breaking Bad to Prison Break to Walking Dead, How I Met Your Mother, The Office, just to name a few of my favorites. Oh, my all-time favorite, Dexter. But yeah, love TV shows. Don't like whatever you consider The Bachelor and Love Island and whatever all those are.
Garbage.
Don't.
Garbage.
Yes, garbage. The garbage title. I hate those. And then third, music. Absolutely love music, all kinds. You may get in my car and you hear hip hop like a lot, but my favorite of all time is Frank Sinatra. So, my range of music love is all over the place. So I could talk about music all day.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that makes us like a good like duo to do a podcast together is because we have a ton of the same interests, but um we view them differently, right? Like, because I
Right.
agree with you. My music is all over the place, from alternative rock, classic rock, to country, to like you just said, the Rat Pack and Frank Sinatra and
Mm-hmm.
Dean Martin, and all the way to the sad white boys from the British Isles. We got Louis Capaldi and Ed Sheeran. Me and you have sung a number of duets on football road trips when we were working
Yes.
together to those two guys. But yeah, I agree with you. Movies, TV shows, music. I play golf. I wouldn't say that I'm like a avid golfer. Here's how a round of golf goes for me typically. I usually play about one, maybe 2 rounds a year. I go into it downplaying how I'm gonna do. Just, oh, this is gonna be awful. This is gonna be awful. First tee shot is usually pretty good. It's usually
Mm-hmm.
somewhere right down the middle, and then I get through hole one surprisingly around par, and then I trick myself with that first hole, like, hey, maybe that time off kind of did something for me, right? And then I get to hole two, three, and four. Things fall off the rails, and by that point, I'm just there hitting shots and waiting. If we're playing nine, waiting for those 9 holes to be over, or if we're playing 18, I'm really hurting by that point
Right.
because I got a long rest of the day to go. But yeah, I am finding the older that I get that I'm a bit of a nerd, and that maybe I just repressed that and didn't let myself, show that as I was when I was in my jock phase. But love, I'm getting more into reading books, a lot of audiobooks. So some like fantasy stuff, so Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. Obviously, those movies and those books are awesome. But we even tried to dabble into like Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that. We didn't get too far into it because we were never had enough people in the same place to get a game going and keep it going. But I just find that the older I get, the more of those types of things interest me, and I'm not, I don't know, maybe not afraid to say that those things interest me. Um, so yeah, I think that you're going to be hard pressed to find a topic that we won't be able to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Just I'm putting this out there for me. I haven't talked to Koltyn about this, but some that I'm probably not going to talk about is religion and politics. I'm not here to argue.
Yep.
Those conversations typically end up, ruining friendships. Not that I think that would happen with me and Koltyn, but I just, we personally, I don't want to, bring those conversations into the chat. I don't want to bring those conversations into the podcast. So that's just where I sit on that. I don't know where you're at with that, Koltyn.
Yeah, I agree. I was kind of just thinking about that too. Religion and politics, like we could agree, we can disagree too, but I just don't feel like this is the time and place to be talking about those to everybody, or debating about them. I kind of want to pick more, fun topics more than serious topics. And because if those kind of topics can lead you to get into the point of getting angry where there is no turning back. And like you said, it probably wouldn't happen with us. But who knows? We're just probably just not going to touch them. So
yeah, and like you said, we want to have fun here. Like I think that we've had some very good suggestions already on our Instagram. If you're not following, go to Instagram and find the Koltyn and Drake. Koltyn and Drake on Instagram, Koltyn and Drake on Twitter, Koltyn and Drake on YouTube, and Koltyn and Drake on Twitch. We tried to keep it real simple for you. Did the old Pat McAfee, Dan Patrick, Rich Eisen thing. Just decided to roll with our names, keep it real simple. But if you go to Instagram, I think that's probably going to be our best bet for getting topics.
Right.
Is we'll put out a call for topics post, and then you just drop them in there, or honestly, you just drop them in any post that we put up on Instagram. And if you see that we've liked that post, then that means we've got it in our list. And we're going to, go through it and eventually get to that topic. So yeah, that's kind of how it's going to go. Twitter's kind of a cesspool, to be honest with you. I mean, we have a Twitter account, but I don't know. Twitter's kind of frightening, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like I worry about what I'm going to scroll through when I just go to Twitter to look up our own stuff.
Yeah. It's like, Twitter just auto generates things they think you would like to see, and most of them are just like, that's nothing what I would like to see. So
exactly,
get that out of here.
Especially when it's like a brand new page on Twitter, so it knows nothing about you. You haven't liked anything yet. You've only said some of the things that you do like, and when I made that, I put it all up there, like sports and video games and stuff like that, and it's putting up, it's nothing but politics, and then questionable, like people getting hit by a car or something crazy. I'm just like, I don't need to see that. Like, why? I don't know. I come to social media not to get angry, not to be sick to my stomach. I come to social media to laugh the real world away.
Right.
So what do you think? I don't know what, like, if we were to have a brand of our podcast, right? So the kind of feel for the podcast, like what's your expectation for that?
Honestly, I'm expecting us to just kick back, relax, argue, debate, have fun. I really don't have, like, obviously I have high expectations for the podcast just because the idea came to us and we're just like, yes, let's go with it. But honestly, I just want our community and our environment and everybody that watches us, that listens to us, just to come, have fun, listen to a couple guys that know what they're talking about, or don't. Who knows? Depends on the topic.
Hopefully it's the ones that we don't know about, because just so you know, more times than not, we're not going to fact check things. At least, I mean, absolutely. Not before we say them. We may check them after the fact, but we'll probably not fact check on the front end.
Right. But yeah, I mean, I want you guys to have a good time listening to us, get a laugh, or get new knowledge. Because some of the stuff that we will be talking about that we may not know, don't get me wrong, I'm gonna be looking some stuff up because I don't want to go in here looking like I don't know anything about the topic, even if I don't. But I mean, maybe we could help you learn something one day, or maybe just to have that laugh going to work or getting off work, or I just want this to be an environment where everybody just hangs out, has a good time. Yeah, I think that's where I kind of see this going.
It's funny because I was talking to our buddy Chris Sipe from the In the Middle podcast, and he was just like, when I told him about the idea, he was just like, "That's a really good idea. Like, think if somebody just came in and wanted you to explain the moon landing,
Right.
but like in your own words." And I was just like, damn, like I know about the moon landing, but I don't know that I'd know enough to. I'd be having to make stuff up if they just wanted it
Right.
in my own. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I agree. I just want a place that, one, we can come in here and it's just a conversation, right? Like these first few episodes, I do think that we're gonna have, one, we gotta loosen up a little bit and
Yeah,
get
of
used
course.
to talking to a recording, but at the same time, we gotta just get used to having a conversation, which we do. I don't know, 5 nights out of 7, anyways.
Yeah.
We're on here having conversations. Like when we thought up the podcast, it wasn't like we both said, "Hey, I really want to do a podcast again." Like I don't even remember what sparked it, but it was like it got brought up in one conversation, and then like 2 days later, it got brought up again, and then we just were like, "Hey, wouldn't it be cool if we did this? Wouldn't it be cool if we did this?" And then a couple days later, we were just like, we were already just moving on stuff. Like we
Yeah.
never
Right.
we never really like sat down and were like, "Hey, let's do a podcast." It was like we
Yeah.
just kind of naturally kind of started, like it all just kind of fell into place, and we started rolling with it before we even like agreed to, yeah, let's do this.
Right. Kind of felt like I've seen some meme or something where like running and they're like, oh yeah. Oh, and then they're like, oh, we're doing it. Oh, we're going. Oh, we're actually going. It just felt like we were just running, and then eventually we're entering the marathon. I was like, well, okay, I guess we're here. Let's just keep it going. So,
By the way, I think my wife might hate me. And it doesn't have to do with anything with the podcast, but she did text me the other day and say that she thinks that we should train for a race. That we should do like we should train for like a 5K or a 10K or something like that. And I'm just like, is this you trying to tell me you don't love me anymore?
right.
What are we doing here? Like, no, I'm not running. I
I
run
don't
in
need,
emergency situations.
right. Same.
That's it.
I tell people to run. Other than
Yeah.
that, that's it.
Yeah. Like there, I can get this, 6 foot, 260 pound frame. I can get it moving at a good clip, but I'm only good for, 100 yards max. And then
Ooh.
after that, I need a good, like 6 months to recover.
Yeah, I'm in the same way. I'm not running unless I absolutely have to.
Yeah.
But we'll
so
see. We'll see.
watch. We're gonna get to a point where chat and Instagram and all that's demanding that the two of us sign up for some half marathon or something like that. I'm
Yeah, at
riding
that
I'm
point.
riding a bike in it, just so you're aware. I'm not running. So I mean, we have a couple of topics. What are we at for I'm just looking at what we're at for time for this episode. So just so if you ever tune into Twitch, here's kind of the what we're expecting. We're expecting to kind of launch the stream, and for maybe 15 to 30 minutes or so, just kind of have some just chatting at the front end, where we are paying more attention to chat and stuff like that. Have a little more interaction with viewers, and then once we start the recording, just kind of paying attention more to what topics we have for that day, for that episode, and then get that episode out. And then once get that episode recorded, and then once the recording's over, then have another 15 to 30 minutes of just chatting, where we're engaging with the chat, and any viewers that are there. That's kind of how we're going to kind of manage that. So those first 15 to 30 minutes probably will not be in the podcast if you listen to it in audio form. But that's kind of how we envision this kind of stream taking place. We just wanted to, have something, again, we saw our buddies over at In the Middle, Mark and Chris, they stream their recordings, and we saw that and we're like, I mean, if we're going to do this thing, let's do it,
Right.
there's no any sort of content you can put out should, inevitably help your brand, as long as you don't do anything stupid. So, and who knows, doing something in today's world, doing something stupid may actually help your brand too.
Yeah. It was kind of dumb.
I'll let you do the dumb stuff.
I was gonna say, it's kind of dumb if we didn't stream it with, I mean, I already had a little bit of background in streaming anyway. It was kind of like a no-brainer of why wouldn't we stream it, let people watch, then have a little engagement after, before, maybe we decide to every Tuesday we hop on the stream and do the video game stuff like we are doing right now. Like,
yeah,
it just made more sense to stream it than not.
Yeah, and that's another thing that's helping out is the to get affiliate on Twitch, you've got to get, a certain follower number, and you also have to reach a certain amount of hours streamed. Well, obviously, if we're not recording podcasts every day, we're not going to reach those. So us playing video games together and streaming that also helps that out as well. So, a couple nights a week we may hop in and just, right now we're big in Rainbow Six Siege, so we may be playing that. You'll be seeing Koltyn's gameplay, but we'll have both face cams up there, just so you can see how locked in we truly are, or how angry I get when I get swung on and dropped because I just don't have the reaction time that I used to.
It's time for you to get that PC, my friend.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that it'd make a difference because, like, I do all right with my mouse hand. It's the keyboard hand that doesn't want to work, and I'm like, part of me is like, maybe I need that what's it called, like an Azeron or whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
The ones that you just go like this and press up, and that's like your hand sits in it.
Yeah. So you've got the mic, and then you've got the mouse, and then you've got that thing. But I'm sure I'd screw that up as well. But it must be nice though to aim with your whole arm / hand as opposed to just your thumbs.
Oh, it is. I use my whole desk. Like, I have I have my keyboard here, and then the rest of my desk on the right side is all for my mouse movement.
So, I mean, just to kill a little time here, and we're already talking about streaming and video games and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, right now our kind of big one as a group is Siege. I mean, I know it's an older game, but it does feel like it's growing in popularity. I think
right.
I mean, a large part of that's due to like TikTok and Jinxie and stuff like that. But what is it about? And we'll get to some other games too. But what is it about Siege that you enjoy?
I'm a huge ranked game player. So, from Rocket League, I've been playing consistently. It feels like every day now for 6 years. So that's kind of what started. Well, obviously, Call of Duty when I was growing up was big. So just like the competitive factor of playing Call of Duty growing up, and then the first ranked game that I think I started playing was Rocket League. And I liked the grind of trying to get as high as you can, trying to obviously be the best. I'll never be there, but trying to chase that. So once I started, I played Siege way back when too for a little bit, and I didn't have the people to play with like I do now. But it was still fun. And then I kind of got away from it just because I was bored playing by myself. But then when Jinxie started streaming and all these streamers started to get back into it, I was like, oh, I'm gonna re-download that, and that's when everybody else did, all of our friend group. And so yeah, I love ranked games, Valorant, Rocket League, Siege. Used to like Call of Duty. I'm not a huge Call of Duty guy anymore just because it's not the old Call of Duty, okay? Everything I compare to is, Black Ops 1, 2, 3, Modern Warfare 2. They do great with the game. They do great with the looks of the game, the guns of the game. I just can't get behind the movement. It just kind of ruined it for me. So I kind of got out of Call of Duty. But yeah, ranked games, and the only ranked game that I still play now that I've played for a while is Call of the Wild, which is a hunting game.
Yeah. That's a pretty good one. I think I have that on my Xbox. It's been a while since I played it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I got asked the other day, how Siege has been while we've been playing it, because the community can be pretty toxic. But
Right.
we don't use. I mean, I'll solo queue sometimes, when no one else is on, but I just I communicate via either text chat or pinging stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't usually have a whole lot of interaction unless somebody sends me like a direct message or something like that. But so I don't really get into kind of the toxic community of Siege. The thing that I really enjoy about it though is the strategy part of it.
Right.
I'm not good at like the gun skill or like the movement of the game.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have a good feel for the strategy of the game and like how to set stuff up or where to set stuff up. Um but I also like how like you go play a game of Call of Duty and it's just like everybody's just running around like crazy.
Right. Right.
The whole goal is just you know kill everything in sight,
Mm-hmm.
and this slows stuff down, one, to a point where I can actually like process it, but two, like if you play a ranked match, even if you get beat in 4 or you beat a team in 4, that match is still taking 20-25 minutes,
Right.
and so like each round's 3 minutes long with some on the beginning and the end of that. um it get I don't have to sweat the whole time. And I don't have to be like anxious that I'm, letting the team down the whole time, because it gives you some built-in breathing room, and then you can be like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
what didn't work? Where'd they push from? Okay, now let's swap up our strategy. Hey, you play this guy, you play that guy, and let's set up the site this way. Okay, we've lost twice at that site. That site sucks for us. Let's move to this one. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
we already as a group kind of have our maps that we they're good maps, but we see them come across when we're playing, and we're like, oh no, here we go.
Yeah.
Or a map that the general public may not like as much. Us as a group are actually pretty good at it, and
Mm-hmm.
so um I don't know, I'm really enjoying Siege. Some other games that I've played that I've enjoyed a lot was Apex when it kind of first came out for the first 3 or 4 years. Not that I dislike it now. We still play it sometimes. I think Siege has just kind of overtook it at the moment on
Right.
my list. Obviously, grew up on Madden and college football, NCAA football back in the day. Do have the new college football game. We were in that pretty hot and heavy when it came out. I haven't really turned it on since this summer though.
Mm.
But yeah, I don't know. I just like games that are strategic. They make you think, but at the same time, they can slow you. You're able to slow things down and not
Right.
just. I think probably part of that's probably why you play the Call of the Wild game, because you don't have to think a ton, but
Mm-hmm.
it slows things down for you, and it allows your brain to relax a little bit. And as chaotic as Siege can be, it kind of does that for me, because the actual gameplay is not just haywire all the time.
Right. Right.
There's definitely times where 3 shields rush site and we're all screaming, and I'm just like, what the hell is going on? But that every once in a while is a good thing and is fun. But I can't, playing like Call of Duty or Warzone or something like that, where people are
Mm-hmm.
essentially playing team deathmatch in a battle royale situation. I can't do that.
Right.
Well, I don't know. What do you think, Colton? 35 minutes on the episode 1. Just, a little bit of an introduction, a little bit of why we're doing this and who we are.
Yeah.
What do you think about
Feels
that?
pretty. Felt pretty good. Feels good. Feels good to be doing this again.
Yeah.
As you can tell throughout this first episode, like we could talk. We just talked about Siege for 20 minutes about basically the same thing. So when you come here and listen to us, you're gonna get a lot. If we know the subject, you're gonna get a lot of information, okay? And you're gonna get a lot of arguing. Luckily today we agreed, but that's not gonna be the case every day.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
I just as a kind of a heads up, you know this, but I'll tell it to the viewers. I tend to have a bad habit of talking in circles. So I'll get on a subject and just roll. And if I don't think I did a good enough job of explaining what I wanted to say, I roll through the whole damn thing again. So I'll work on that. But just so you guys know, that may be something that that happens. You may have to just suffer through that for the first few episodes.
Yeah, we'll probably both be doing that, and then it'll just be an infinity sign instead of a circle. So
Right.
we'll work on it. We'll work on it.
Right. But yeah, make sure you're following us on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube, and on Twitch. Koltyn and Drake on all of those, and then also make sure that you're following us on Spotify and or Apple, wherever you are getting your podcast between the two. I'm probably going to add it to more, but right now we've for sure got it on Apple, we for sure have it on Spotify, and we for sure have it on YouTube. So one of those three places you can get it for right now. And if there's a place that you prefer to get your podcasts, and you want to start listening to the Koltyn and Drake show on that platform, be sure to let me know, and I will get it uploaded to that platform. So I think that'll do it for this episode. Episode 1 is in the books. Koltyn, good talking to you.
Yes, it was good. It was great talking to you. Like I said, we agreed, but don't get used to it.